Welcome to Mills Knows Bills and the MKB podcast, where we dive into all things money, mindset, and making business make sense. I'm Michelle, your AI narrator. Yes, I'm new here, and no, I didn't rehearse this in front of a mirror because, well, no face. In these best of episodes, I jump in to set the stage for the standout moments that had us nodding, laughing, or rewinding. Since it's my first time on the mic, I just wanted to say hi. Now let's get into it. Here's our first best clip of season 5. Imagine landing a high reward project that needs $500,000 up front before you even get paid. Cue the stress sweats. This clip is a masterclass in cash flow strategy, creative financing, and why knowing your numbers is the superpower most CEOs forget to pack. If you're ever wondering how to scale without sinking, this one's for you.
The issue that I'm going to highlight on this one is the cash outflow superseding the cash inflow.
Right.
And so it's a huge issue, especially when it's $350,000 cash infusion necessary within 2 weeks, and then an additional $200,000 3 weeks after that, all before the first progress payment. And so we need $550,000 within the first 6 weeks of accepting this project, of which maybe $100,000 is in receivables. Maybe $100,000 is in the checking account. But how are you going to bridge the remaining $350,000 gap? And that project is going to take up all your time. All of your crew is going to be on that one particular project. You know it's an incredibly profitable and lucrative project, but you can't afford to wait that long to receive the first progress payment. So what do? You get financing to help bridge that gap. And so it was critical for us to not just identify the cash flow of when that would be an issue, but identify the solution and making sure that the solution was solving the long-term problem. It wasn't just putting a Band-Aid on the issue.
That's right.
And so as he actually just closed on this financing recently, he was able to bridge that gap with more than he needed, which is awesome. And so as he is collecting these progress payments, we're making sure that we can repay the debt. We make sure that we set some aside so that way we don't always have to rely on financing. We get to rely on financing if we want.
That's a great point, is repayment. How are you going to, not what the bank wants, how do you want to repay it?
Exactly.
And you're managing your money. To manage your debt is just as important as managing your income, right?
Yeah.
So, wonderful. That's, there's so much in there. But I
told you it's a lot.
It's a lot. But you hit on a lot of key points. And again, you sound like a commercial banker. We're looking at those things of how a project's going to work. With that project, obviously it was lucrative enough to work. And I'm assuming that the financing within that there are reasonable terms that helped out, that met that need too. So,
absolutely.
That's important.
I think the critical part for this business owner too was knowing his numbers and understanding what he could actually quote. I actually had...
Well, because if you don't have that, how can you do it? Right. And then don't dip your toe in the water if you can't
afford it.
Yeah, you can't pack it up.
Right. So he knew what his expenses were. He knew what he wanted his profit margin to be. And by knowing his numbers, and we've been working with him for about 18 months now. And so knowing where his overhead was at and knowing where the market was at, he was actually able to capture an additional $200,000 of profit that he wouldn't have previously captured. And so that $200,000 right there is enough to help pay back a portion of the loan or keep in his pockets. And so it's all these little factors, people want quick fixes, but all of the factors have really been leading him up to this moment.
He wouldn't have realized that without you.
He's smart. He would have realized it.
He would have found that $200,000?
No, but
okay, that's what I'm saying.
No.
So that's why trusting advisors, knowing what your passion is, trusting advisors to find those little things that help you along the way. And that's a big thing, right?
Absolutely.
That's a huge thing.
Lights, camera, insecurity. This next moment hits every business owner who's ever stared at their own reel thinking, ugh, do I really sound like that? But the wisdom here is gold. Social media isn't about perfection, it's about showing up and focusing on the people you help. You're not doing it for vanity, you're doing it for impact. And if that means flinging your phone across the room after you post, so be it.
I mean, how could a business owner even prepare for that besides just time and practice? Could they listen to music? Could they maybe practice a few reels on their own, get the out first?
Yeah, I mean, I think both of those are good options. Like, I think doing a few reels on your own is always good. I used to tell people before Dose became Dose, and when I was like doing other stuff, I used to tell people like, record yourself, post it, and then just like slingshot your phone. Like literally just like record yourself, hi, blah, 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 whatever. Post it and then just throw your phone and like walk away and go do something. And like at first people were like, I'm not gonna, whatever. And then they actually started doing it. They're like, dude, it works. And they would just throw their phone because I'm like, so I think that definitely helps by posting stuff. So that way you're not like staring at it, refreshing it, how many likes, whatever. But I think like, it's like so annoying, but like
make it the least important part of you.
Like it just has to be the least important part. Like at the end of the day, it is social media. At the end of the day. Now, is it wildly important? Obviously, it's my entire business. So it is important. But in terms of showing up or like, I don't like how I look or I don't like how I sound or I could have said a better answer. Yes, there's a day that you're always going to look prettier on another day or you're going to have a better answer for sure. Like all of that stuff is true. But like, I promise you, no one cares as much as you do.
Yeah. No one sees it the way that you do.
No one ever. I mean, you've talked about this before that you've had like things that you're literally like, I do not like the way it happens to me all the time. Lexi just posted one and I'm like, ugh, and I'm like, I can't wait for tomorrow till the next reel comes up. So that just keeps on going down on the list. Like I can't wait. But is it going to stop me? No.
No one sees us the way that we see ourselves.
No.
And I think somebody told me this. I don't remember if it was you, somebody else before. But they said that I'm doing the world a disservice by not sharing my knowledge.
I didn't say that, but I wish I did.
Take credit for it. But it was
by Chloe Pena.
It was shifting the focus off of me, which is why I'm a one and done recording gal. Yeah. To shifting the focus on my clients.
Yes,
right.
It has to be a different mindset. And it has to be like, this is not just a magazine and a collage of like how beautiful you are and how smart you are. Like sounds cool, but that's not what this is.
Yeah.
It's you. Your business helps people in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. It helps people some way. Like people need your services, whatever it is, even if it's something silly or like not super serious, whatever, like people need you. And I think again, like it's another part, like it's the heart of Dose that like people are needed. People need to see you. People don't want the smoke screens. People don't want that stuff. I'm not interested in that stuff. So the people who vibe with me are also not interested in that stuff. So it is hard to get out of your own way. It is hard to do that stuff. But as a business owner, you know that you have to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. As a business owner, you know that you have to step out. As a business owner, you know that like if you are the smartest person in the room,
you need to get into another room. Which I be all the time the dumbest person in the room, baby. And that's a good thing, like all the time. I'm like, what am I doing here? These people are geniuses. But I mean, is that not true? Like, so if you are a business owner and, you're like, I don't want to because I'm nervous, whatever, like, cool, that's fine. At what point are you going to let that limit you, limit your business, limit your revenue, limit your dreams? Like you're going to put all of your dreams on hold because revenue's not coming in or whatever, because you don't want to film yourself real quick. Yeah. Like, like it, and it doesn't match up. It doesn't match up. The math ain't mathin'. Yeah. And I'm not even a math person,
If you've ever felt like your business bank account was ghosting you, this next clip is a reality check. Mills breaks down the most overlooked financial metric, projected cash flow, and how it can make or break your decision-making. Plus, we get bonus tips on tracking net worth and marketing like a boss in your slow season. It's the finance pep talk you didn't know you needed, but you'll be glad you heard.
With your extensive experience, and again, I appreciate the time, what would you say are the most critical, financial metrics a business owner should be monitoring for their business? Like, what's the key component that you would give that piece of advice for?
There's so many, but I will pick just one, and I would say that's cash flow. And there's a lot of business owners who know that they should budget. They know that they should analyze their profit and loss. They know they should look at their bank account balances. But what they often miss is projecting their cash flow. And they miss it because, frankly speaking, most of them don't know how to do that. And so as a result, they struggle with making financial decisions every single day because they don't know where their money is going to be 2, 5, 10, 13 weeks from now. And so as a result, they always feel like they're playing catch up.
Awesome. So my second question would be, what could I look at, or any business owner look like that would be key indicators to suggest that my company's on a healthy financial trajectory? Is that same cash flow?
Cash flow for one. You can also look at your net worth or equity in your business. What I would suggest is keeping track of that number on a consistent basis. Monthly is fine. And if you see that number increasing over time, that means that you're making the decisions that are moving the needle forward a little bit each and every month. And so oftentimes, as a business owner, you feel like the sky might be falling, or maybe you are just flying and soaring on top of the world. But if you're keeping track of your equity or net worth, it allows you to see if what you're feeling is reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else you got for me?
So another question I have is marketing, right? I think it's similar to insurance, most business owners don't really know where, when, how to market. How much do I allocate in my budget, for marketing? What kind of advice do you have there on marketing? And I know that varies by business, but just curious on that answer.
I would say it does vary by business, but what I have found to be most beneficial is consistency.
Okay.
Honestly. And so if you are consistently putting content out there, consistently talking with your demographic online, that's acting as a passive salesperson while you continue to have those one-on-one conversations actively. And so I was speaking about this on a podcast just yesterday, actually. I was getting interviewed, and the gentleman had asked me my marketing strategy and what business owners should do if they want to expand their reach. And point blank, outside of consistency, double down during your slow season. Not because you're expecting a return on that doubling down during the slow season, but because you'll expect it when your revenue picks back up, right? If you know that December is already slow for you, but January is incredibly busy, double down in December, anticipating that you're going to have more eyes throughout the month of December, and you'll be top of mind in January. Why is that important? Because none of your competitors are doing that. They all forgot to plan financially for the slowdown in revenue. They didn't set aside extra money for additional marketing. And so they're not going to be top of mind, but you will be. And so you'll be able to capitalize on that uptick in revenue the following month.
Ever wondered how to explain ROI using only ingredients from your kitchen? Of course not. But now you're curious, right? This moment is hilarious and surprisingly effective as Mills cooks up a metaphor so savory you might just rethink your budget while basting your next steak. Seriously, this is ROI you can taste.
Would you rather coach a struggling CEO or a toddler in the middle of a snack-related meltdown?
A toddler.
What? A toddler?
I'm just kidding.
She means that.
All right. You know exactly what's wrong. A snack-related meltdown. You give them a snack and it's done.
That's very good. That's very good.
But I work with a lot of struggling CEOs. It doesn't mean I don't love you guys. But I will choose my toddler every single day.
Okay. That's fair. I think I don't know if he meant like your toddler specifically. Just
another kid?
Like a toddler.
If it's another kid, I don't like kids that much. Literally, she just went like this. She just went. No. They asked me to volunteer in my church nursery, and I'm like, do you really need help? Because like, I just feel. We need to get Josh in over here so we can this really.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna
Okay.
move on.
All right. What is
That's a good question.
Wow. It's a great question. No, these are amazing questions.
Answer.
Okay, question number 2. For the owner and CEO of Mills Knows Bills. The question is, if you had to explain ROI using only ingredients from your kitchen, how would you do it?
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, bro.
Dude,
Josh
can
is
you
a
go get
creative
Josh? Like,
genius.
what the heck are these questions? All right, ROI. Using 3 ingredients?
No, just ingredients.
Okay.
How would you explain ROI?
You want a delicious steak,
Mm.
so you are going to first get the butter,
Oh, yeah.
get it to room temperature.
Okay.
Then you're going to add in all the different herbs and sauces.
Pause. Does everyone know that this woman is a chef?
I'm a little bit of a chef.
She
I'm
is
a
a
chef.
chef.
I
Okay,
do, like-
continue.
Mwah. You're going to add in all those ingredients, make your own garlic herb butter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so that's a lot of work. It takes a little bit of time.
Mm.
But you're gonna let it sit and just all the juices.
Yep.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then you're gonna on that steak.
Yep.
And you're gonna grill it, and
Yep.
it's gonna be mwah.
Yep.
And then the investment, the return on that investment is the best steak you'll ever have.
You're so good. That was
Thank you.
so good.
I literally whipped
Wow.
that out of my butt like
I'm
that
so
whipped butter.
I'm so just like that whipped butter.
Here's where things get deep in the best way. This final clip reminds us that helping small businesses isn't just about numbers, it's about dreams. It's an honest conversation about the power of community banks, guiding entrepreneurs, and why real impact isn't always measured in millions, it's measured in meaning. It's the perfect close to this season 5 highlight reel.
You know, since I built out commercial and business side, that's what I want to do in the future is help other credit unions and small lending firms build that side out, because the bigger banks, which I worked for too, they pretty much cherry pick their deals.
Yeah, they
And
do.
the smaller banks, those credit unions and those smaller banks are so necessary for the small business to have access to lending, that they're a little bit more nimble than the bigger banks are, because they can just they could do sheer I guess they just have such a broad swath of clients that come in. They could just cherry pick what they want. But some of those smaller businesses
ones
are gems, and they need to be, maybe we do something here this year, but then we don't have that problem in the future as long as we're guiding them the right way. And that's where I really fell in love with the small institutional banking. And that's why I want to spread as much as possible that the ability for those institutions to do that, because they traditionally have mostly focused on retail banking.
Sure.
And that side's dying, right? The online presence and so many banks that you can just take the retail and the regulatory that goes into that retail side. If credit unions and small banks don't go to that small business and commercial side, they're not going to last. They're either going to get gobbled up or they're not going to last. So, yeah.
Well, you're also making an impact at the root of it as well, right? If you're able to help all of these smaller banks and institutions and credit unions build out that lending arm, then they're able to impact and help a lot more small business owners, right? So you're spreading your impact, which I think is really cool.
Well, you know, I mean, think about it. You're taking someone's dream and trying to help them do that dream, right?
Yeah.
And if you take it seriously, and I know you do, I know 100% you do, that if you take that seriously, it's nothing better, right? And I tell a lot of people, I'm never going to be a billionaire or millionaire or whatever, but I've helped a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful thing.
It is.
And, again, a lot of these clients, I mean, they become your friends and you, always have a line, but you're friends and you care about what happens to them. And I think that's what we're here on this earth for, is to help each other and, try to grow.
I had my, I have a student from UCF who's shadowing me, and she was shadowing with me at my house yesterday, and I had to call one of my clients, and we're, chit chatting, hanging out, and I hang up. She goes, "Oh, is that one of your relatives?" I said, "No." We've just gotten to that level.
How's Jimmy?
How's your children?
Is he teething still?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
No, but it's fun because then you get to, you're not only making an impact, but then you get to do life and business with people that you enjoy, and you know that you're making an impact, not just professionally, but personally, which is really, it's an honor, honestly.
And that's a wrap on our best of season 5. If you laughed, learned, or looked at ROI in a whole new way, my job here is done. I'll be back the next time we gather the gems, drop some knowledge, and share the moments that made the season shine. Until then, keep your spreadsheets clean, your goals bold, and your butter room temperature. This is Michelle, your AI narrator, signing off from Mills Knows Bills.